make mention about the great event that's taking place tonight. You got the NFL draft going down in Detroit, I believe. You can see the NFL is trying to bounce around different places to make things more interesting for everybody involved in the sport of NFL football. But I just want to talk real quick about Reggie Bush getting his Heisman Trophy restored. And I say congratulations to Bush. However, he should have never had his trophy stripped in the first place. And this is just a tactic that administrators use to try to get back at people who have done things worthy of accomplishment. And the problem is, what does it really serve? The people who played against Bush, the yards that he gained and the accolades that he earned were well earned, and we all saw it. You can't erase something because you don't agree with one thing a person does and say that he deserves to have his trophy stripped. And I never thought that was a good idea to take anybody's trophies. But the question that remains is, why now? The NCAA is trying to save face. You know, in light of what Bush is accused of, he's accused of accepting impermissible benefits from a benefactor in his hometown of San Diego. Now, the guy came out and make a fuss and say Bush didn't honor his agreement. That's why he was going public with the situation. And because of that, it led to Reggie Bush having his trophy stripped. But again, does that mean that all the things that Bush did is unworthy on the football field? Does it mean they didn't occur? What about the guys who played in those games that got hurt? Does that mean they didn't get hurt because Bush was ineligible? The things that they come up with just don't seem to make a whole lot of sense. But the question is, NIL. NIL has brought to light all the hypocrisy that's taking place in college sports right now. And if you think about now where you have players making millions of dollars before they even make professional sports, what's taking place is some of the guys on the low end of the roster are making thousands of dollars, bordering on millions. What Bush is accused of accepting is far less than that, and he was a far greater player. So when you look back over history and say, well, why is this guy Bush vilified for taking a few dollars? You had all these players over here who can't even hold Bush's shoulder pads are making much more than what he's accused of taking. So it only makes sense for them to come back and try to change that narrative. But the other part of that is that the NCAA is under fire and possibly losing their standing. It's almost like they become irrelevant because all the laws that all the rules that they have, they were mired in the Stone Age, if you will, and the legal community is overshadowing the laws that they come up with. But I always wondered how one institution could control the entire landscape of college sports. Well, college sports are really run by the presidents, and the presidents allow an institution like the NCAA to control everything. It's just like these state institutions. The governor really runs the Florida High School Athletic Association. He came out with some rules to adjust the board a couple years ago to illustrate that point. So the rules really come down from the government, just like the rules in the NCAA is coming down from the school presidents. So as long as the presidents allow these things, it was going to take place. But now with NIL, he has opened doors about how these players can be funded, and now the legal community is getting involved, and it's showing the NCAA for what it really is. It's just a controlling institution where a small body of people is taking all the money, and they don't want players like Bush to get a cent. What if Bush was playing today? How much money would it be worth? Think about it. So as they start to ask these questions, it only makes sense that they give the guy back his trophy. So the question is, what's next? What's next to be overturned? I just give you two examples. If you remember Bobby Bowden of Florida State, he was in a competition with Joe Paterno to see who was going to finish their career with the most wins. Bowden edged out Paterno by 2 wins. So ended up with 411 to Paterno's 409. But both of them had problems. Back in 2006 and 7, Florida State they were found to have used an ineligible player, and it cost them 12 wins. But still, there are 22 other rules wins that they had that they didn't get credit for. So Bowden, he had got to 411, but he's officially credited with 377. Paterno, on the other hand, he went all the way down below that because the situation with Jerry Sandusky. Now, the problem with that is perception. Because the NCAA has such a tight grip and they're trying to control their image, they want to blame Paterno for what Sandusky did. Now, we all know people who have done some wrong, and just because you know that person and they did some wrong, does that mean that I'm guilty because I know who that person is? That's essentially what they did to Paterno. Take, for instance, the legal community. A few years back, there was this girl that they caught on video, and some young girl, it had to be about 10 or 11, running from this guy in the casino in Las Vegas. The camera showed that the guy was stalking the girl, ended up chasing her in the bathroom and killing her. Somebody saw that and didn't say anything. Well, once that person was caught on camera, they tried to charge that person, but according to the law, he hadn't done anything. So they couldn't charge him. Now, who was more guilty? You see that kid being chased by an adult and you stand there and let it happen, you're a far worse criminal, I think, than the guy who did the crime because you could have stopped that. But nothing happens to you. But in the NCAA, Paterno is getting accused of something his assistant coach did because they say he was supposed to know about it. Well, that don't have anything to do with Paterno as far as I'm concerned. And about 4 years after that, after they stripped Paterno of all those wins, they restored them. So now Paterno is back at the top of the list at 409. So he got his restoration, but what about Bowden? Even though all those games were reversed and he lost all those wins, those guys on the field all know that when they played those games, they got beat. And during those times, Florida State was pretty good, so they probably got beat up pretty good. So what about the other guys who got hurt? Does that mean they didn't get hurt because the game got vacated? None of that stuff made sense. If you want to hurt Florida State or any other school by stripping them of wins, I think the best way to do it is to do it financially. Look at what Florida State's involved with now. They're trying to get out of the ACC so they can go make some money in another conference. That doesn't mean they're going to get it, but the court has now allowed them the fact that they can go to court and fight for it, even though they did wrong because you signed the contract and now you don't want to honor it. But that's the society that we live in now. So the only thing that left, we have the NFL draft tonight, and Caleb Williams, another Heisman Trophy from USC, and USC did not fully embrace O.J. Simpson before he passed. So the only question really remains, now that Bush has been given his Heisman back, does USC now fully embrace the return of Reggie Bush? Or if you're Reggie Bush, do you really want to return to USC after they treated you? You know, but again, hypocrisy has been revealed, and now the NCAA is still backpedaling, and it looks like in a couple of years, NCAA probably won't even exist. And if they do, it looks like the football programs are going to break away from that institution and form their own. But that's another subject for another day. I just want to come in and say that Bush has got his trophy restored and point to some of the hypocrisy that the NCAA has been involved with over the years, and that it's going to be the draft tonight, first round. A lot of excitement, even though Caleb Williams probably already signed his contract with the Bears. That's a foregone conclusion. But for the rest of those guys, a lot of them going to have their dreams realized tonight for the draft, so that'd be great for all of them. So we keep an eye on that, and if anything pop up between now and then, I'll be sure to let you know about it. But got to go to work. This is Sports for Real.